Syndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
So what is up? Glad you could join us. It is Thursday afternoon. He's Shep. I'm Sean. I was a little late signing on today, and I have to explain to you guys why. And Shep, I think you will understand this, okay? I made myself the biggest money BLT in the history of mankind. How on earth can you deny the deliciousness and the nutrition that comes with just making a giant BLT and cheese sandwich? I'm telling you, it's outstanding.
So I need to ask a few questions first.
Yes.
A, what kind of bread?
That's easy. You're gonna laugh at me. I love sourdough rye with a bacon sandwich.
That's
Absolutely
fine.
love it.
That's beautiful. I'm not gonna laugh. I think it's an important choice. You toasted, I assume.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank goodness. What kind of bacon?
I use the thick cut bacon, and I'm telling you, I will never fry bacon again. And I know some people might take this as heresy and try to burn me at the stake. Shep, I line a cookie sheet with foil, and I put the bacon lengthwise across the cookie sheet, and I put it in the oven.
Wow.
And I'll never fry, honest to goodness, I'll never fry bacon again. I will never, ever fry bacon again. It comes out wonderful. It's about 20 minutes at 425, and it gives me that crispiness and, that wonderful grease. Are you going to deny that grease? You can't. It kind of marinades in the grease, and I'm telling you, I don't think I'll ever fry bacon again. I'm serious. It's so good.
I give you credit for waiting 20 minutes. Because I can't do that. I mean, if I got my BLT and I don't put cheese on it, but I've got to have it pretty quick. I don't think negative of Lee, but my wife buys turkey bacon because she no longer eats. I mean, she hasn't eaten red meat since she was like 12.
God bless her. Wow.
Yeah, turkey bacon's really good, really good. So I substitute that. Last thing, mayonnaise. What is it? What's the whip?
Miracle Whip. Mayonnaise. I gotta have mayonnaise.
Me too.
Gotta have it.
All right.
Just got it. You gotta have it. Shep, Lions, the trade deadline. What is Brad Holmes doing? All of that stuff. The way I look at it, Shep, honestly, and there wasn't a lot of crying. Sure, I know a lot of people would have liked to have them do more. But at this point in time, I always go back to this. This guy's cachet is unbelievable. His credit line is unbelievable. Because of that, I'm cool with what he did at the trade deadline, man.
Hey, listen, you call him a wizard, okay? You want to go ELO or the cars for Magic, go right ahead. Because that's what he does, man. Sean, it's not just Zadarius Smith and a seventh rounder, which, seventh rounders, special teams guys, usually, that's fine. He gives up a fifth and a sixth, but he gives them up in separate years.
Right.
I think that's exactly what you should hope for. I might have thought there might be another move, a secondary move. I'm fine with this. What I respect most about him is his ability to be patient. I don't necessarily hold that trait. I can be patient, but not as patient as him. How many people do you know? As soon as Hutchinson gets hurt, the immediate thought is trade for another big name.
You got it.
Because they just don't feel like picks are worth it. Now, I think you and I are on the same page when it comes to draft picks or prospects in baseball, if you will, prospects in hockey. You just don't know. Hi, Philip Zadina. All I'm just saying is when you've got a proven commodity like this, and Brad Holmes was willing to wait. He didn't quickly go into Josh Uche. He didn't go into he may have made some calls on Max Crosby. He may have made some calls on Trey Hendrickson, who I like a lot. But he's got a guy who's under a decent contract for next year if he wants him. And you got bookends for next year. And you've got a guy who knows what it's like to be a pro. He's going to help this team in more ways than just rushing the passer. I love what he's done. Now,
Yep.
he's got built-in cachet with you and me, so I don't think he can do a whole lot wrong. But damn, way to go, Brad Holmes.
Yep.
Salute to you.
More on that in just a second. Tom says, good afternoon. Bacon in the oven is awesome. Tom, I'm glad to hear you say that. Guys, listen, fired in the oven. I know it probably goes against everything that we've been brought up to believe in.
At how hot? 250?
So I put it on 425. I put it on 425, and it takes about 25. Now, and everybody likes their different variety. I like the crispy bacon. I do. I like the crispy bacon. Fired in the oven, 425, 20 minutes. You'll thank me. I promise you. As Tom said, isn't Detroit only paying Zadarius $600,000 for the rest of the season? Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's Shep. So
he's got another year left on his deal if they so choose. I mean,
100%.
A guy in the NFL and pay a certain amount of money, but next year I think his cap hit might be $9 million, something like that. But like I said, like for a 32-year-old, just a couple of years ago, he had double-digit sacks.
Yep.
This guy knows what he's doing. This guy's really, really good. This is a hell of a claim, I think, on the part of Brad Holmes. And I don't think they pick him up, Sean, unless he fits that proverbial culture. I know that gets overused sometimes. I think he's going to be great for this team. I think it's
fantastic. Shep, and this goes back to something that we talked about last week. Is Detroit a destination for certain people? And the answer that I have to that is not the city so much, but circumstances. If you're a veteran player in the National Football League, how many times do you guys say, I want to get that ring? I got the bag. Now I want to get the ring. Okay.
Later in their life. Yeah.
Hi. Well, this is Detroit. We are clearly the best team in the NFC. Make no mistake about that. We are clearly the best team in the NFC. Okay. I'm not gazing into my crystal ball. That doesn't guarantee anything, but I really like the chances of coming out of the NFC. And quite frankly, if there's a team that could really give the Kansas City Chiefs a go, who I'm going to say it for the umpteenth time, if you watch them on Monday night, they're living right. They are. They're living right. Things happen for them. Calls happen for them.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
They're living right. But if there's a team that can knock them off, it's the Detroit Lions. So
I think Baltimore can knock them off. I think Buffalo can knock them off. But you're right. They deserve credit because they are the two-time defending world champs, and they're off to the undefeated start at 8-0, and no one else has done that. A lot of people tell me, yeah, but they're winning close games. Okay, so what?
Yeah,
okay,
couldn't agree more.
But I think Detroit has been the most consistent team in football. Look, even go back to the one loss. Go back to Tampa. Detroit outgained them by a ton, outrushed them by a ton, only committed 4 penalties. They played a really good game. They struggled in the red zone. They went 1 for 7, but they were still in the red zone 7 times. Tampa was in the red zone twice. So I think even that game, even though they lost, I think the better team, you and I talked about this with Michigan State. We thought Michigan State was the better team that day, but Michigan won. Better team doesn't always win. I thought Detroit was a better team against Tampa. Yep. I really like the way this team is consistent as they are, even though you and I both know they're going to stub their toe. And I think it happens on Sunday against Houston. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah.
It could. Well, and you know what? Houston hasn't looked like Houston, especially. I remember watching the Minnesota game and just going, what happened? Yeah, they were so exciting last year. Yeah. What better way to get back on track than one of the best teams in the National Football League? Now Detroit is that team, Shep. Now the Lions are legitimately, hey, this is our get better game. We're playing one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can get right in front of a national TV audience.
Let me ask you this. What do you like most about what they do every weekend? Detroit.
I love what they do on the offensive line. I do. I think, I'm sorry, Shep. Guys like us have been saying this for 20 years. You know what? You get that offensive line. So much of what you want to do in a league that is predicated on offense, whether you want to hear it for the 2,788th time, the National Football League is all about offense. You put your quarterback in a position of comfortability, and you give 2 very capable running backs an opportunity to do some things on the ground. I can't say enough about the offensive line, and I'm coming close to talking about the Black Sabbath wizardry of Aaron Glenn as well. And right. I'm one of those guys 2 years ago around this time, I thought he was without a clue. What is he doing? And I openly confess my sins.
That's good. And Black Sabbath, whether it be Ronnie James Dio or Ozzy Osbourne, I'll take either one of them. Although Heaven and Hell is one of the best albums of all time, and that's with Dio.
I'm not gonna argue.
The thing I would tell you, and I agree with you with Aaron Glenn, he deserves a ton of credit, right? He's doing it without Aiden Hutchinson. He's doing it without Marcus Davenport, without Derek Barnes. DJ Reader has not been the impact player I thought he was. He's improved their secondary. There's no doubt. Their safeties are the best combo safeties in all of football. What I love most about this team is how relentless it is on both sides of the ball.
Sure.
They're going to look to score every single time. And if it hurts your feelings, who gives a shit, right?
Yep.
This is a team that is going to constantly come at you, and you've got to be ready. They set themselves up, which I don't care. Why should you? They set themselves up to be yelled at and spit at and thrown at and all that other stuff because a lot of people feel like it hurts their feelings. Tough crap. Play better football. Detroit is going to continue to punch you in the mouth on the ground, through the air, and on defense. And I love that about what this team is all about. We can talk all we want about, look at how the image, they're the image of their coach and they're the image of the city. Fine. If you want to go that far, go right ahead. All I know is this. They don't feel like that game is over until they see zeros on the clock at the end of the game, not at the half, but at the end of the game. And they play like it. That's what I love most about it.
You just got onto something I could go off on a tangent on, and I'm going to do that in a second because you and I both have we both have experience in the Mid-American Conference, okay? And I the whole running up the score thing, I laugh at it. I'm sorry. Tim, one of our resident Packer fans says, if Reggie White doesn't sign in Green Bay, do you think they have the success after? Shep, we're old enough for nobody thought that guy was signing in Green Bay. Nobody thought that guy was signing in Green Bay. And Tim, I think you know this better than Shep and I do, okay? The reality is, as much credit as Brett Favre gets, and he should, I don't think enough is said about Reggie White's impact on that team. I don't. Shep,
Agreed.
I don't think enough is said.
Agreed. I never thought he'd leave Philly, especially, you had Jerome Brown, God rest his soul. You had Seth Joyner. You had so many really good players there for Philly. I was surprised. And you're right. Nobody thought that he would be one of those guys who rides a bike to practice during training camp and the little kids are around there patting him on the back and stuff in Green Bay. No way. But boy, did it solidify, not that he wasn't already, but did it solidify how great a player he was. I don't think Tim is even suggesting this. It's not like Zadarius Smith is going to be that for Detroit. But this is an acquisition that not just fills a need. I mean, it could be a couple of years for success this year and next if they so choose. And that's what I love about it.
Clueless little Sean convinced himself that Reggie White was coming to Detroit because. And that was my reasoning. Because. Oh, okay, cool.
But here's the thing, Sean. I mean, you said, is Detroit a destination site? And I don't know if you're referring to the NFL or you're referring to the city in general. And I think you and I, you know better than I do, but you and I both were down there for the Red Wings parade, and we covered the Stanley Cup Finals. There were a lot of free agents who wanted
100%. Mm-hmm.
There are, you read the reports earlier this year. There were wide receivers going to their agents. And if you're going to send me someplace, or if we're going to sign someplace, or we want to be traded someplace, I want to go to Detroit. Okay, because it's fun. They're putting up numbers. They win. I've always said this about players. Players want their money early in their career. And I get it. Once they've made the coin and they don't have a championship, they want to go someplace where they're going to win a championship.
You got it.
And Detroit is one of those destination sites now for NFL players. And anybody who denies that is not paying attention.
Circumstances dictate whether a guy wants to come. Because everybody and their brother wanted to be a part of what the Detroit Red Wings were doing for a long time.
For sure.
And you know what? Right now, the Red Wings aren't close. I mean, Mike, that's a fact. Okay.
Right,
so
good win last night, but that doesn't improve anything.
Yeah, you're not going to see guys line up. Shep, let me tell people about Lindsey Broadwell real quickly, and then I want to bring up to you the whole running up the score stuff, because I think it's just pure comedy when I hear people in the National Football League cry about it.
Yeah.
Hey, when it's time to get yourself a new house, whether you're buying, selling, or both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? Lindsey Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you will ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsey grew up on the main streets of Northville, and she's expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. Now, when it's time to move, our friend Lindsey and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsey at BroadwellHomes.com. She will help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Shep, many years ago, I was in the booth, and I know you did Eastern Michigan for forever and a day. Long live the Mac, you and our mutual friend Rubes. But many years ago, I was in the booth, and Toledo had a chance to go down and play a game at the Horseshoe. And this was number 1 Ohio State, number 1 at the time, with John Cooper at the helm, right?
And Toledo's good.
Toledo was pretty good, but we knew an ass whooping was coming, right? We just knew an ass whooping was coming. They were up 42-0 with a few minutes remaining before halftime. It was worse than any of us imagined. John Cooper, I kid you not, called a halfback pass. I'm not joking. You're up 42-0 with, I don't remember the exact, let's say a minute remaining before half. First down, 8-yard line. You pitch it to your halfback throws a touchdown. Hooray, everybody's happy. You're up 49-0. Now, listen, to me, and you might disagree, I think you're an asshole with a capital A if you do something like that. Why? You're up 42-0. This is a team that you could play 100 times, and the chances of us beating you that year were slim and none, even being a good team. Okay, I think you're being an asshole with a capital A when you do something like that. Maybe you disagree.
I don't know. I don't disagree with that. I have no problem trying to score. None.
No, exactly.
But doing that, some could say, well, they're working on something. That might be the defense. You can work on that without doing it up 42-0.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do that when you're up 14-0. Okay. At some point, it becomes ridiculous. The running up the score, I think there's a little bit of a misnomer there. I've always felt like, especially like in basketball, hockey, you can't do it. Baseball, it's pretty tough to do unless you bring in a position player to pitch. But you're not going to tell guys who are backups to go in there and lay down. You don't do that.
Never.
But the team that's getting their ass kicked, it's up to them to go, you know what? I'm putting in my 2s. I'm putting in my 3s because I want these guys to get some reps. Then it's the team that is doing the ass kicking's job to say, you know what? We see that they've put in their reserves. They're putting in some of the inexperienced guys. We will do the same. You don't keep your 1s in against the other team's 2s or 3s in football. I'm not sure that was the case for Toledo, Ohio State, but your example's dead on. That's not necessary. That's unprofessional, and it ain't cool. And it's also how you lose future opponents. If you're going to do that kind of crap, see it. A lot of teams will go, I get it's a decent payday. And for Toledo, it probably was a good payday. I mean, they saved some money because they could drive there instead of flying. And there's a lot of ways you can make some money that way. But overall, not necessary.
Well, it's interesting because the one thing I was besieged with Buckeye people that were complaining because I had the audacity to call that out, and they said exactly what you said. This is going back to 1998. They said, "Hey, this is working for something later on in the season in Big Ten's schedule." You might remember that year they played a certain team that wears green and white, and late in the game they had a 1st and goal. I'm not making this up, from the 10-yard line. The perfect time to go with their secret weapon, because you practiced it against Toledo. Of course, they didn't call it because they would be maniacs to do that in a game in the Big Ten. But what drives me out of my mind, Shep, is this, okay? You can't compare Northeast Louisiana State taking on Georgia in week 1 of a college football season to the NFL that is professional and everything is supposed to be equal. You cannot, there's no comparison. Okay. So when I hear people do that, and Chris Christie, God bless his plump ass.
Can you do me one? Can you do me one favor?
Yeah.
Can you keep talking while I go get rid of a woodpecker?
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. But I mean, so when Chris Christie did that a couple weeks ago, I lost my mind. Like, what? Time out. This is the National Football League. All things are considered equal in the National Football League. There is a salary cap. If you didn't do a good job of drafting and you didn't do a good job of managing the cap, et cetera, you're professionals, man. Professionals. Okay? This is not Little Sisters of the Poor taking on mighty Alabama. This is not Little Sisters of the Poor taking on mighty Ohio State, okay? And that's why, listen, I don't get agitated about it, even if you're playing in the same conference. I do GLIAC games, right?
Yeah.
I do GLIAC games. I have watched Tony Annese roll it up so many times.
Yeah.
I have looked at Tony Annese and said, I have no problem with you doing that, man. And the same thing can be said for Coach Wooster and Grand Valley over the years. Hey, we're both in the GLIAC conference.
Yeah.
You keep rolling. You do what you have to do. This isn't, and so Shep, with that being said, like I said, the pros, when I hear people cry about that, well, that's classless. No. You keep playing.
I've seen it.
Playing,
Look,
man.
Calling Eastern Michigan for as long as I did, 20 years, I saw Toledo do that to Eastern quite a bit. You're not going to complain about it. First of all, it's MAC against MAC. It's West Division against West Division. It's wide open now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to Eastern to say, you know what? I'm raising that red flag. I'm not going to fault a team for going out there and telling their guys, keep executing. Because it's so hypocritical. Coaches want the best out of their players. The players give you your best, and then you're going to punish them? I don't think that's right either. Now, should you be doing a lot of play action passing and do some flea flickers and some hook and ladders? No, you shouldn't. But if you're beating these guys up front and you're shoving it down their throat, that's not on you. No. That's on them, first and foremost.
Tim said, if you have run up the score or called timeout to save time to score again, and then the opposite team does it to you next year, I don't want to hear about it. Amen. Live by the sword, die by the sword. Man, yeah. Karma's amazing. Shep, do you remember years ago, and I know you're a proud Chip, didn't Florida and Spurrier beat Central Michigan? Wasn't it like 72-6?
Yeah.
And of course Spurrier.
I don't even know if it was Spurrier. I'm not even sure it was Spurrier. It might have been after Spurrier.
But I read they went for 2 like in the 50s too. And I'm just like, okay, now you're just trying to be an asshole. You're just now you're trying like hi, I'm an asshole. Watch me be an asshole. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
You're trying to humiliate your opponent. That's not necessary.
No.
Right? You want to do that to Miami or Florida State? I get it.
Right.
You're doing it to an undermanned, less talented mid-major program who you invited to your building and you knew you were going to win. They probably knew you were going to win because this isn't the NCAA. Okay, this isn't the field of 64 where you're in deep trouble and you're in the 50s and you're doing that kind of crap. Sorry, uncool. Yep. Right.
One of my favorite quotes, and I used to love the old Big 8, Shep. You and I grew up with it. People don't know.
I am hip.
Right. I used to love the Barry Switzer quote, hang half 100 on him. What a great, you know what we're going to do? We're playing Texas this weekend. We're going to hang half 100 on them. Yeah. It's Texas. It's not like you're playing New Mexico Tech of the Alamo or something.
Right.
It's Texas.
Or Woody Hayes. What was Woody Hayes against Michigan? Why'd you go for 2? Because I couldn't go for 3.
Right.
Is that what it was?
Right. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. Let me tell you about our friends at the Wealth Advantage Group. If you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville and owned by 2 brothers with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. And that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help navigate you through the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, already already in retirement, they can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life. They have clients in over 20 states. You know what that means? If you're watching us on the west side, if you're watching us up north, it doesn't matter. These guys can help you as they've helped me and my family. The investment world is a complex one. So if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it might be time to work with the experts. Reach out to my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574 or visit their website at www.thewealthadv.com. One of my buddies just brought it up to me, Shep. Like, honestly, he's watching and he texted me and he said, how about Michigan State last year? I thought Jim Harbaugh had mercy last year, truth be told. That was 49-0. He could have made that 98-0 if he wanted.
That's a really good point. Yeah, good take.
And it's Michigan State, man. It's yes, go pound them. I don't have a problem with it.
Because I got news for you. The other team would be doing it.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm cool with that. Hey, speaking of cool,
all right.
I think Cam Talbot looked pretty damn good last night.
I did too.
And I know Chicago's not that great, Sean. 28 saves. He's 4-1-1 with a sub-3 goals against and a save percentage of about 91.5 or so. I just want to be fair because I think it was a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago, I was railing on Eisman and the goalies that he's brought in here. We got a long way to go, and it's only 6 starts or 6 games, I should say, for him. Overall, it's 9 games, I think, for the Wings. Cam Talbot looked pretty damn good last night against Chicago to get the 4-1 win, don't you think?
It is 100%, and it is, Shep, it's his MO. He goes out and get it. I think you and I talked about it. I remember when he got Dwayne Rollison, and he kind of went like this and got out the last few remaining drops of Dwayne Rollison when he was at Tampa. I think he likes to get that veteran goalie who knows there isn't a lot of time left, and I want to wring out whatever I can about it until the guy is ready. And he did it. And all I can do is base things on, previous actions. It doesn't mean that that's going to be his actions, but you've kind of seen him work that way where he grabbed the veteran when he was in Tampa. They went on a wild run. Then it was, all right, we've got the guy before the real guy. And Ben Bishop came in for a few years and he led him to the Stanley Cup Finals at least. And then the guy was ready. And the guy, of course, being Vasilevsky. I think we're in the midst of that right now.
Well,
I think we're in the midst of that.
It took him a while to find that guy.
Sure.
But I'm not going to you can't. At least he did, if this is the guy. I mean, he went through too many for my liking. Nedeljkovic, right? Bernier, Husso, whatever. If he's got a combo of Talbot and Lyon, and he thinks that's going to work, God love you. I just think Talbot looks a lot more comfortable. The way the team plays in front of him seems to be a little different. I could be off there. I've been impressed with him so far this season. It's been a nice pickup so far.
Austin, I couldn't agree any more with what you said. Shep and I talked about this last week. When the 2 games when I was in Switzerland because I couldn't go to bed and stayed up till 5 every morning, the 2 games that I watched in Switzerland.
That's what Wiener Schnitzel does to you, Sean.
It does. Wings playing not a sustainable winning model. Goalies have bailed us out so far. We're lucky to be hovering around 500. Could not agree with you more. We talked.
I agree. But they didn't play that way last night.
No, I thought they were on last night. I thought they were on last night.
Right.
But
so it's not sustainable when you take 11 shots and you win 1-0. I don't disagree with that at all. You and I have come to an agreement on that. But I didn't think last night. I mean, to me, last night is not the same as some of the other ones. That's all.
No, and I understand what he's saying. Overall, I just don't think you can do that. And you know what? I go back to Alex Lyon. Like, if you haven't figured out what Alex Lyon is by now, that's your fault. It is. If you think that he's the answer, if you think that he's the man, you're not paying attention both with his time with the Red Wings and when he was with Florida.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Sean. Every guy he has brought in outside of maybe Nedeljkovic, he's the only one who many people thought could be the guy. The rest of them have all been a guy to set things up for the real guy, right? A number 2, if you will, if I can put it that way, fair or unfair. So that's what I think a lot of people are waiting for. If the guy is Costa, and that's what Austin says, and neither you nor I think it necessarily is, just because he's a first round pick. I hope he is, but we sure don't get that indication just yet, because Trey Augustine is the guy who I think is probably valued a little bit more within the organization. Then it's going to be a while before you get to the guy. Well, you've swung and missed on a number of twos, or even a guy who could be a short-term one. Let's hope they've got it fixed. That's all.
Austin says Sebastian will be the guy, but please don't bring him up while our defense has this many holes. It's like drafting a quarterback with no O-line. I still think it's going to be Augustine, and I'm not saying that because of my hat.
I say that because of what people have told me within the organization. That's all.
I think Augustine will be the guy, but regardless, I think, it's much like we were just talking about. Again, all I can do is look at things with tendencies. He had a Ben Bishop. Ben Bishop was kind of the guy in waiting until he felt like the guy was totally ready. And Vasilevsky came in, and there was a period of probably 3 or 4 years, Shep, where in my mind, he was the undeniable best goalie in the game. Like he was. I think, especially during the Stanley Cup run, and it's easy to say that when you're winning Stanley Cups, but he was he was the best goalie in the game. I don't think there's any debate about that.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. So what do you think, Shep, Michigan the rest of the way? I think a lot of people are looking at 6-6 Michigan football. I think Michigan State is at the point of hoping for 6-6. They should beat Purdue. I'm not giving that Rutgers an automatic W, even with the game being in East Lansing. Is 6-6 a fair mark for Michigan football, Shep?
Yeah, it's not fair, but I think that's all they can hope for, because the Hoosiers are going to beat them this weekend.
I think so.
They can beat Northwestern, and then they should be really concerned about what Ohio State does. The only way Michigan stays or hangs with, I don't think they can beat either Indiana or Ohio State. The only way they do it is if they can control the ball. That's it. I mean, because we both know they can't throw it. Indiana has really impressed me in a number of different ways.
I agree.
And I get the schedule. All right, I get it. Still, they scored 100 more points than Oregon. I don't know if people realize that. I mean, that's how good their offense is. I'm not saying they're the number one team in the country, and I don't think they're the best team in the Big Ten. It's pretty obvious that Oregon and Ohio State are the 2 best teams in the Big Ten. But I'll tell you this, and I don't think Indiana has any right to look past Michigan, and I don't think they will. I cannot wait for next weekend when Indiana has to go to the shoe, or 2 weeks actually, because they got a bye week, goes to the shoe to play Ohio State.
I think it's awesome.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. But look, Kurt Cignetti is, I think, already the national coach of the year. They're the biggest surprise in college football, maybe outside of Army. And I think the Big Ten should note how he's been able to do it. When you bring in as many guys as he did from James Madison, and you get a Mid-American Conference quarterback who was Offensive Player of the Year, those are good things. Indiana's a great example, Sean, of why you and I were just talking about mid-major football, of why mid-major football is really important.
Amen.
All we're doing right now, the whole belief that, Michigan's going to pay $5 million for Bryce Underwood. Okay. It's no longer NIL. You and I both know that. NIL is name, image, likeness. That's out the window. This is why there needed to be parameters.
100. Gosh,
Okay.
I couldn't agree more.
All it is now is paying for players. It's pay to play. Okay.
Yep.
It is one big free agent class after another. Stop disguising it as NIL. But mid-major teams, and you and I deal with them, mid-major teams, you've got some really good players who may not be able to start every single Saturday at Michigan or Michigan State or Ohio State or Oregon. But I'll be damned if you're going to tell that kid if he can't play on that team, because he can play. And a lot of these kids are proving it. Indiana's a pretty good team that you should probably want to root for if you like mid-major programs like you and I appreciate.
I think it's great. I love the storylines this year, and I'll throw SMU in there. I'm telling you, Shep, SMU might be a playoff team. I mean, that's the crazy thing. When you mention Army and Indiana, I mean, I think it would be a catastrophic upset if they aren't a playoff team now. I mean, that's how crazy things are. So I think it's great for the sport. I do. I really do. Let me tell you about Legacy before we get out of here. Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance. Our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you. And yeah, oh, by the way, save you some money. Don't we all want to do a little bit of that right now? Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're probably paying too much and you could be underinsured. What are you waiting for? Give my guys a call. It's Joe, it's Alex, it's Dave. It's a great staff. Legacy Partners can help you with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today at 586-209-4106 or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Austin said the transfer portal and NIL stuff is going to create a lot of Indiana-type flash in the pans going forward. Overall, it's going to look like Euro soccer with the same teams there every year. I do have to wonder who is going to be the first school to have a, quote, GM-type person, since they all appear to still be working out the management structure in the new college football era. That's great, Austin.
That is a great take. The GM, the line about the GM is perfect. Somebody's going to do it.
Yep.
Somebody's going to bring them in, because you've got GMs right now of certain networks who have kind of branched out to NIL. They may have been, let's say, a radio network, and now suddenly they have an NIL division. You have general manager of that. When is a school, I can't think of one right now, when is the school going to bring on a general manager strictly for football? And or is that general manager going to be responsible for other sports?
Well, and it's interesting, Shep, because all the boosters who have been doing the golden handshakes for 30 years don't even have to hide it anymore. I mean, really, I mean, there are a lot of guys with a lot of disposable income where they literally live their life vicariously through fill-in-the-blank football program. They don't even have to hide it now. Hey, Shep, your boy, we've had our eye on your boy Chad, okay? What would it take? We really want him at Michigan. We really want him at Illinois, whatever the case may be. I mean, it's out in the open now, man. Make no mistake about that.
Well, in addition to this, here's what's going to happen, because these big schools, they're going to get roughly, I mean, especially in the Big Ten, they're going to get about $22 million next year. Okay, so the $22 million is divvied up every school in the conference based on broadcast rights and all these other things. All right, so everyone's going to get $22 million. On top of that, what you've been getting through, the contributions, wink, wink, through the big donors. Where is that $22 million going to go? Is it going to go at Illinois to the football team and the basketball team, and that's it? The schools that have more sports, Ohio State, for example, need to raise more money, because the $22 million can't be divvied up among the 30 plus varsity sports that they have.
Yeah.
Michigan State doesn't have as many sports. Illinois doesn't have as many sports. Wisconsin doesn't have as many sports. So the $22 million can be divvied up a little bit more fairly, if you will, but that means their football program gets a little bit more than perhaps a team like Ohio State or a Michigan, who have more varsity sports. It's something that, there's just no parameters. Nobody has thought of this stuff, and I don't know why. And my big fear, Sean, is that you're going to have teams, or schools, I should say, and their athletic programs are going to go, you know what? We're going to get a lot of money to football. We're not going to be able to get as much or give as much school-wide to the hockey program, to the baseball program, to the lacrosse program.
Yep.
Then what does that do? It either forces that program to go away or become a club program. And then the trickle-down effect is later on in life, and I've worried about this for years, later on in life, we become a country of strictly baseball, or I should say basketball and football players, because everybody looks at it and says, you know what? That's your only way to a scholarship, unless you want to play club.
And that's where the money is. I mean, that's the reality. You follow the money. I mean, it's an undeniable truth in life. Last comment.
Right. That's why, Sean, that's why I like when you do What the Puck, and you do a lot of the stuff with the high school hockey coaches in the state. And I mean this sincerely. I'm not just saying it because we're friends. I mean this sincerely. It is so important. And I love that sport. I can't skate worth a damn, but I love the sport. It is so important to have your kids experience different sports and gravitate toward the one that you enjoy the most, too many moms and dads get in the way because they think there's a scholarship waiting. There's not that many scholarships out there, folks. There really aren't. And then the chances of you going from college to the pros. When my son was getting recruited out east, my wife's like, he's not playing pro lacrosse. He's going someplace close to home so we can go watch him. Just let them go and spread their wings a little bit and enjoy it. And high school hockey, it's, I know it's not AAA, but it's fun to watch. And the kids build that bonding. And I hope they keep playing it for the rest of their lives.
We're moving kids on now. When I say we, I have no problem including myself in that group. We're moving kids on to places that they were not moving on to even 10 years ago. I mean, so watching kids go from, I'll give you an example. A kid played for the state champion Catholic Central team last year and went straight to the Peterborough Petes.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. It doesn't happen. It doesn't, but you're seeing this happen, and kids move to the NAL, the North American League, and to the USHL. And then it might be a couple years, but on to a lot of Division I places. And I think it's fantastic.
I just hope they play. I wish Michigan would change their rules a little bit where you could do both your travel team and your high school team. That's all. And I think that because you got your buddies and you're playing with them. I think that's awesome. It's a great story, CC, going to that. But, my son's got a really good friend who last year played in the Colorado Avalanche system. Sean, he couldn't play high school hockey. He couldn't because it conflicted with all the other stuff. So he had to move away and go someplace else and play in the North American Hockey League. I mean, it's really too bad that the state doesn't see that. But I just want to give you a shout out for that because that's really cool.
No, appreciate it. A couple of last comments before we get out of here, and I got to tell you about All About Catering anyway. Consolidated NIL fund for boosters and fans, checking out who to get in the transfer portal to fill roster holes. These are not things ADs are doing in mass. Whoever does it first is going to have a leg up. Schools like Michigan, Texas, they'll be fine. If I'm a Spartan or pick a school, let's say Georgia Tech fan or something, I would be screaming from the rooftops to get it together and be a pioneer in the new model. Forward thinking counts, Austin. There's no
good
doubt.
Work, Austin. Really good work. I love your mindset there.
Tom Gretzky played baseball as a kid, big lacrosse guy as well.
Yeah, Gretzky played baseball as a kid. I remember Red Berenson told me when hockey season was over, when he was a kid, not a long time ago, they hung up their skates and they grabbed their baseball gloves. Yep. And it sure didn't hurt them. That's not the way it is anymore, unfortunately. Whether you think it's right or wrong, that's not the way it is anymore, number one. And number two, we both know a lot of this is pushed on by parents because
100%.
They think their kids are all going to be the next Wayne Gretzky.
I think you know this guy as well as I do. Greg Steffen played baseball in Brantford with the Gretzkys, and he told me point blank. He said Wayne was phenomenal. He said he was a great lacrosse player. He's a great baseball player, and somehow that doesn't surprise me.
Didn't he learn? Correct me if I'm wrong here. His patented move from behind the net in hockey, Wayne Gretzky. Did he not learn that from playing X in lacrosse?
I think that's what it was. I think it was playing box. Yeah.
That's the X. That's the X.
Yep. That's exactly it. His office. Hey, All About Catering LLC is a full-service caterer. Graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events. You want to have a big blowout for a college weekend? Go right ahead. Anything you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people, All About Catering can and will take care of you. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews, or give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Tell Rick and the gang we said hello. Shep, you got anything going on this week? Anything you want to pimp before we get out of here?
I don't think so. No, nothing going on. I had a great time last weekend at MSU. Going to parents' weekend, it was phenomenal. Loved every second.
Yeah, we did too. I mean, other than the game, it was about mid-third quarter where I was like, "You want to go take a walk around the beautiful campus?" Because Dad doesn't want to be in the stadium right now.
Well, listen, by the time you walk around that campus, the game could be over because it's such a big campus. It's gorgeous, but it's so.
Absolutely.
God, I feel spent by the time I get back. You know what I'm saying? Ooh.
Yep. All right, Shep, have a great weekend. Todd, thank you as well. Thank you guys for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Thanks, Todd. Yep.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. And engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.